life is life, whether you take it onto a sailboat, whether you take it into a tiny home, whether you take it into a van or some other type of dwelling, whether you're walking on the Appalachian Trail or, the Pacific Crest Trail. It's all life that's going to hand itself to you. And it doesn't really matter what you want or what you think. And that's the beautiful thing about being in nature. Last story before I let you guys go is like I'm forgetting what pass it was, but I was in the San Juans trying to get through a couple passes into to Friday Harbor from Spencer Spit. And I chose a pass and was looking at the tides, but wasn't looking at the impact that this particular pass, how affected it was by the tides, right? So when I got there, there's probably a good 3+ knot rip coming through, rip current. Sorry, I got nose stuff going on now. But when I got there, I was like, okay, this is happening, blah blah blah. And so my goal with that is to sail. That's what I want to do. I want to navigate. I want to navigate these shoreways. I want to navigate because it's all close shore stuff in there, and I want to be able to sail through that. I want to be able to tack quickly, efficiently. I want to improve that ability. So my goal is to sail all the time, even if I'm in becalm for a bit. Usually the becalm state is either because I'm on the leeward side of an island, or I'm in just a little bit of a fluff where the wind is not picked up. So I try to wait those things out. So in this particular pass, I'm going, and there's the pass comes like this, right? And there's water here that bays and then kind of eddies out, right? And then on the same side, the other side was a little bit more rocky, so there wasn't quite that eddy. And so I was like, okay, I got up here sailing, and I'm coming in an attack anyways. But the tack with the water coming through this way is having me go, kind of either straight across and having some leeway for sure, losing a bit of stuff. So I continue to kind of come back around and try to load up the sails under the eddy and come across a few times. Ironically, every time I get around here, the wind would just kick up, perfect to get through the pass. Just not 15 knots or anything, but probably 10, 12 maybe. It would load up, and just as I got past this point, which was running right by a little beacon there, I'd get into the middle of the pass, and just as I was making a headway, the wind would die. So then I'd go cruising back with the current, and so I tried this a few times. And finally, after one of the times that I tried, I was kind of drifting back to try it again, and I didn't really, assess the ferry routes, but this is a very narrow passage. And there's a massive ferry, one of the ones that goes from Anacortes to Friday Harbor, ripping through this pass. So I'm ghosting back as the ferry is just ripping. They do about 15 knots, 12 to 15 knots, but just ripping towards the pass. I knew I'd make it across because I could see the beacon. I'm there's no way they're going to run into land. So, and there was plenty of space, but I ghosted back. But after that ferry came, I kind of had to recognize, whoa, me doing this is not just me trying to prove that I can do it, which I would have kind of wanted to continue to try. But now I feel like I'm in a place of obstructing potential traffic, putting myself and other people in inconvenience, and other people and myself in potential danger as well. So at that point, I was super frustrated, man, because that last time I almost made it, and I was just making way. I was oh, we got it, and then boom, wind died, and so super frustrated. And then the ferry came in. I'm fuck, ferry, man, god damn it, So I'm loading up to go around again, but this time I turned on the motor and went through. And my son was with me on this trip, this 2-week trip. I'm dude, I really wanted to make that pass, and we didn't make it. I'm you know what? I was thinking about it for later, kind of dwelling on my frustration as I was on the other side of the pass. I'm it doesn't matter what I wanted. It didn't matter what I wanted. The only thing that mattered about what I wanted was my frustration in not getting what I wanted. That was what mattered. So in that sense, the only reason why I needed to accomplish something and do that was because that's what I needed to do. Nature, I don't know. Is she a she? Is it a place where I matter or don't matter? I just don't know. But in that point in time, I was needing to work with my own frustration and needing to accomplish something in the way I wanted to accomplish it versus accomplishing it and going through and patting myself on the back. Again, in surfing, you go out and you want to get out to the surf break and it's scary and whatever, and you don't make it out. You just get pounded in the shore break again and again and again until you lose energy. You go back in, maybe, try to recoup and get some food in and water, try again, pounded. it's not happening for you, man. You know, like you're not going to make it out. And at that point, it's like there's a sense of like disappointment and lack of accomplishment. But the accomplishment for me in that pass was being able to assess, like in a very like embodied way, like, oh, there's frustration present. And that frustration was because the mind set itself on doing something, it didn't do it, aversion set in, and now the aversion created the frustration. So that's the inner workings of what I need to work on in that particular pass. And right back to nature. Everything I said before about motor, not motor, right? That was my direct connection with nature, even though I motored through that pass. It was about not being able to make it and then having to observe the feelings around that, sensations and frustration. If I was by myself, I would have anchored in that eddy until the tide turned, you know. But I was with my son. I wanted to get him to Friday Harbor because we're going to do food and ice cream and stuff like that. You know, he deserved it after being out there for a week. And so I wanted to make that happen. And I'm okay that I made it happen. But when you're out in nature, she's going to be a constant teacher and a constant, you're going to be in a constant place of being humbled unless you protect yourself from it. So if you're in a constant state of being enclosed by windows, doors, you know, whatever the vessel is, like just not engaging in nature, you're not going to learn anything. And that might be your choice. You know, that is your choice to kind of isolate yourself. But on the way back, you know, to Blaine, I was sailing back and just, I wanted to wave to some of these sailors, even though they were motor sailing past me. But they were so enclosed with their you know, their Dodger Bimini enclosures. I couldn't even see the person. So like, if I can't see you, it's like I could go like this or I could go like this, and it wouldn't make a difference. I can't even see. I don't even know what you're doing or what you're looking at. So I'm not going to engage, you know. And I think that's a big part of it, you know, for me sailing and meeting up with different people is those people that can come out of their shells and are stoked to be there. I can tell a lot of times just by the way people look if they're salty or not. And sometimes that's not always the case for sure. But you can kind of tell like if someone's like actually engaging with the environment and out there to really connect. You know, they could be as arrogant or as raw as the next guy, but there's something there that you can relate to. You know, if you're after that.